You're aware of the homeless you see on your trip to and from school, walking around with stolen shopping carts, asking for money with cardboard signs at stoplights, and camping along the side of railroad tracks. You don't really understand how you could help them, because with so many attempted efforts, their numbers only seem to increase. To start off, we must first understand the misconceptions of the homeless that people have. Drugs and alcohol addictions are often not the cause of homelessness, but the result. And most homeless people don't live on the streets because they want to. 93% of homeless in Santa Clara County want affordable housing but cannot afford rent. The primary reasons for their lack of money: low-income jobs, large families, prejudice, and perhaps most detrimental of all, unemployment. Most homeless people experience overwhelming barriers to employment, which include mental illness, criminal backgrounds, and a lack of internet access to apply to job opportunities, transportation to interviews, and access to showers as well as clean clothing. In addition to these, high housing prices, temporary conditions for sleeping on the street, a large supply of homeless shelters, and individuals with weak social ties are all conditions that make homelessness more likely. If you haven't noticed, one of these reasons isn't like the others. A large supply of homeless shelters, how could that make homelessness more likely? Well, as it turns out, substituting permanent housing with shelters actually increase homelessness. Most people being shelters will not otherwise sleep on the street. Now that we know the reasons for homelessness, just how bad is this crisis? Well, to paint a picture for you, according to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, in January 2018, around 550,000 people were counted as homeless in the U.S. The overall homeless population on a single night represents 0.2% of the U.S. population. How does any of this apply to you, you might ask? Well, because homelessness is more than just encampments of poor people living on the street. Homelessness takes a toll on the economy, healthcare systems, environment, and criminal justice systems, not to mention the lives of the fellow homeless human beings. Every year, just homelessness alone costs Santa Clara County $520 million. Healthcare is a big contributor because homeless people don't have the ability to treat serious health conditions. Next is the fact that homeless spend more time in jail or prison than the general population. Each homeless person costs taxpayers $14,480 per year, and often time is served as a result of laws specifically targeting the homeless population, including regulations against loitering, sleeping in cars, and begging. Finally, things like trash and human waste from homeless encampments pollute waterways and public city spaces, since public restrooms and trash receptacles are often limited and prohibit the homeless from access. Like when Astoria Road encampment in San Jose was closed on December 2014, city officials removed 600 tons of trash and over 1,500 pounds of human waste. Similarly, the city of San Francisco even developed an iPhone app and employed a poop patrol in attempts to keep the streets clean of human feces. Even with these facts laid out before us, we still hesitate to step in and help. Not only so, steps taken in an attempt to help low-income families and homeless people are facing much resistance. Some of the most major factors being big businesses, if not the government itself. In 2017, congressional Republicans launched a tax and budget agenda that cuts taxes, which will hit housing and other basic assistance for struggling families, such as healthcare and education, while also benefiting the higher income families. Cities like Seattle, rather than eradicating homelessness at its root, took on strategies to sweep the homeless from public view by destroying their encampments, issuing tickets for their vehicles, and installing hostile architecture that keeps people from sleeping on benches and in city parks. Even when an attempt was made to reduce homelessness, like when the city passed a tax on full-time employees of the city's largest businesses to afford housing and homeless services, it was met with opposition so aggressive the tax was repealed a mere few weeks after passing. But this homeless crisis does have a solution when we approach it with a correct mindset and plan. Addressing the housing issue, the U.S. Council of Economic Advisors states that if metropolitan areas with significantly supply-constrained housing markets were deregulated, overall homelessness in the U.S. will fall by 13%. As for providing housing for homeless people in the very near future, permanent support housing is a suitable alternate solution to shelters. With permanent support housing, the formerly homeless can move into apartments and have access to caseworkers, nurses, not to mention healthcare, treatment, and employment services. They will be able to slowly acclimate and become part of a community, which in turn creates a network of people that help each other stay stable. Why permanent support housing? Because giving people homes without requiring them to first get sober or deal with their mental illnesses could land them on the streets again. Housing alone doesn't solve all the problems the homeless face. By focusing on building the community, people are able to feel safe and secure and are motivated to address the underlying issues that made them homeless. Organizations that help the homeless will not be possible without people who are willing to help. Though there's no law that could change people's attitude towards the homeless, it is possible to educate them, or better, pass laws that require citizens to participate in public service, like the community service most high schools in America have already required their students to do. Solving homelessness could even start with you, whether it's giving a meal, a few extra dollars, or perhaps volunteering at a food drive. To be able to face this growing crisis and to see the struggling families as people, just like you and I,
all will be a great place to start.